All right, today's video we are going to look at grouping expressions and figuring out how to kind of apply that to order of operations. All right, so let's take a look at this first example. Cecil's trainers proposed each of the following movements. Which one requires the longest rope? And so when I'm doing this, I want to highlight to my terms. Okay, so any stop sign that I'm going to have is going to be an addition sign or a subtraction sign. The only way I can go through my addition sign and my subtraction sign is if it's inside of parentheses. Okay, so when I'm looking at A, you notice that I have 8 that stands alone, so that's a term by itself. And then I have two groups of 6.48. So we want to always say that that is two groups of 6.48. And the reason why we call it groups is because then that infers that we are going to be doing multiplication. So I'm going to have 8 plus 2 times 6.48. Okay? So I'm going to do the multiplication for that, which is going to give me 12.96, and then I'm going to add 8 to it. So 8 plus 12.96 is going to bring me to 20.96. So that's going to be my answer for A. Then moving on to B, I have my group there of of 2, and then I have 8 groups of 6.48. So now when I go to fill my work out, okay, so now I have the 2 plus 8 groups, so that's multiplication, 6.48. 6.48 times 8 is going to give me 64. 32 plus, that's a 6, 38. 6 times 8 is 48, 51. 2 decimal places, so 51.84 plus 2. So 2 plus 51.84 is going to give me 53.84. Okay, so there's my answer for B. And then we have our last problem where we actually we go through our stop sign because it is in parentheses. So we have 8 groups of 2, 8 plus 2 in parentheses, and then we have the 6.84. So when I work out this problem, I'm going to have my parentheses 10 and then 6.48. So when I do that, I come out with 64.8. So when we're figuring out which one's the longest, C is what gives us the biggest answer. All right, so in looking at this problem, so this is kind of just taking some integer tiles and placing them into kind of an expression that we would have. So some things to pay attention to is the numerical term. Okay, so the numerical term, that would be like these 5 plus tiles, okay? These 12 positive tiles, these 2 positive tiles. That's my numerical term. If I'm looking at it on an expression, the textbook likes to use these numbers as circled. Okay, I prefer to use a highlighter just because I feel like the circles sometimes become a little bit messy. So 5 is a numerical term. 3 times 4 is a numerical term. Okay, 2 is my numerical term. So that's where I have my 3 groups of 4 that is right there. Okay, so remember our addition signs turn into our stop signs. So when it comes to highlighting, looking at this right down here, I'm going to go from 4 to 5 and I'm going to stop right there. Then I have 1 and I hit another plus sign, so I'm going to stop. Then I have 3 groups of -2, so I'm going to stop there. And then I have 6 right there. Okay, so if I'm trying to solve this problem, I then have 4 times 5, which is going to give me 20, plus 1, and then this is a negative 6 plus 6. Okay. So 20 plus 1 is going to give me 21. So I'm going to work from left to right. 21 plus a negative 6 is going to give me 15 plus 6 is going to give me a 21. So actually what I wanted to show you was this negative 6 and this positive 6. That actually makes a 0 pair. So my 21 is what my answer is going to be. All right, let's take a look at some examples here. So if you take a look here at our first one, again, our addition sign is going to be our stop sign. All right. So we have 3 terms there. So I'm going to add those up and do that in order, okay, from left to right. So when I add 7.08 plus 2.51, that's going to give me 9.59 plus a negative 3.84. So when I combine that, so I'm going to subtract those because they're different signs. That's going to give me 5.75. Okay. Moving on to the next problem. So I have, again, the addition sign is my stop sign.
It was from me.
Okay, and then I have 2 parts there, so I have 2 terms that I'm working with. And then with that, it's going to be 7.8, and then 2.1 times negative 3 is negative 6.3. So then I'm going to add those 2 together, and I end up with a negative 1 point. Oops, sorry. That's not a negative, that's positive because I have more. So 1.5 is my answer there. Okay. All right, moving on to C. I have 5 groups of negative 3/5 and 2 groups of 1.5. So I have 2 terms there. And 5 groups of negative 3, that's going to give me a negative 3. 2 times 1.5 is going to give me 3. So negative 3 plus 3 is going to give me a 0. Okay. All right. Then the last one here, I have 4.35 times 2. And then I have a separation of 5 with my stop sign. And then I have 3 1/4 groups of negative 1, and then I have a negative 10. So in this one, I have 4 terms that I'm looking at. Okay, so in solving it, I'm going to take 4.35 times 2, which is 4.7, and then I'm adding my 5 plus. This is a negative 3 1/4 because oops, I can't write that correctly. 3 1/4 because 1 times anything is going to be itself, then plus a negative 10. Okay, now working from left to right, this is going to give me 9.7 plus, I'm going to convert this into a decimal. And then I have negative 10. Okay, so 9.7 minus 3.25 because they're different signs. I get 6.45 plus a negative 10. And again, I have different signs, so I'm going to subtract those. So I end up with a negative 3.55. Okay? So hopefully this helps you to kind of understand how to simplify expressions. Please feel free to go back and watch the video.